Tom, good afternoon. It's every parent's nightmare. Your child stuck in the classroom with a school shooter walking the halls. Wichita Public Schools created its own training video with students about how to be prepared for such a situation. Here's Terry Moses, the Director of Safety and Environmental Services for Wichita Public Schools.
One of the reasons we do drills and one of the reasons we have the video like Run, Hide, Fight, we want to instill confidence in people to handle situations, not to create fear. And then when we do have an actual incident, we want to make sure that as a part of our recovery, we're providing that social emotional support.
And that audio courtesy of our news partners at Cake TV. A Sedgwick County booking report indicated that Marshall Green Jr. was arrested on second-degree murder charges in connection to a shooting death at a Wichita Denny's last month. Monzel Brooks, then an employee at the restaurant, was shot when he followed a group of customers outside in the early morning hours of November 10th. And now here's sports.
From the KGSO Sports Desk, I'm Mason Voth. This update brought to you by the Keg Sports Bar and Grill, your new home to kick back and enjoy your favorite game. Plenty of options to pick a favorite game this weekend. On KGSO tomorrow night, you can listen to the Big Ten Championship kicking off at 7 o'clock between Michigan and Iowa. Also, plenty of great college basketball this weekend as K-State and Wichita State play for the first time in almost 20 years at Intrust Bank Arena. And tonight, high school hoops on KGSO at 8:30.
Did you know your tub or shower could be brought back to look like new with a finish or even updated color? And BathQuest at Wichita can help. BathQuest can also remove your old tub and install a walk-in shower or walk-in tub in its place with all the safety features that you may need.
BathQuest has served the Wichita and surrounding areas for years.
And it's time you check them out. Follow BathQuest Wichita on Facebook or go online to bathquestatwichita.com and call 316-685-1627.
Hi, this is Casey from eGraphics. Whether we're dealing with extreme cold or extreme hot, nothing beats getting into a comfortable vehicle. eGraphics has quickly become the place more Wichitans turn to for installation of a remote start on their vehicle. And you thought we just did window tinting, which we do. In fact, we provide the premier quality Lumar window film, as well as custom vehicle wraps for your vehicle. Come see us just south of Douglas on Washington. eGraphics. And learn more at egraf-x.com.
It can sometimes be hard to tell if a prebiotic or probiotic is working. Not anymore. New Align Fast-Acting Biotic Gummies help soothe occasional abdominal discomfort, gas, and bloating in as little as 7 days. So you can get back the freedom to do what you love fast without worrying about occasional digestive upsets. Take new Fast-Acting Biotic Gummies daily for best results. From Align, the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Visit AlignProbiotics.com for details.
Market information from the Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Andy Hooser, wrapping up today on a Friday, looking at your cash grain reports for Kansas and Oklahoma. And we saw kind of mixed on the board today. We saw the wheat and the milo down, the corn and the soybeans up by the end of trading today. Starting off with your prices at the Goodland Co-op in Kansas. Wheat ending prices today were at $7.76. Corn at $6.04, $5.94 in the milo, and $11.92 in the soybeans. Over in your Sumner County terminal today, wheat today $8.06, corn at $5.79, $6.09 in the milo, and $12.17 in the bean market. And for Donia, Kansas, we saw wheat today at $7.77, corn at $5.59, milo at $5.67, and the soybeans at $12.26. Western part of the state of Garden City, Kansas, $8.04 for the wheat, $6.14 in the corn, $5.94 in the milo, and $11.81 in the soybeans. In Coffeyville, Kansas, we saw wheat today, $7.77, the corn at $5.62, $5.56 in the milo, and $12.30 in the bean market. Two Rivers Co-op, we saw wheat today at $7.93, $5.69 in the corn, $5.84 in the milo, and $12.08 in the beans. And in Marysville, Kansas, we saw wheat today, $7.94, $5.64 in the corn, $5.84 in the milo, and $12.07 in the soybeans. Down in Oklahoma, we'll start off with Perry, Oklahoma. Wheat today, $7.87, $5.71 in the corn, $5.84 in the milo, and $12.12 in the bean market. And the Panhandle of Hooker, Oklahoma. Wheat today, $8.19, corn at $6.34, the milo at $5.94, and the soybeans at $11.24. So pulling out that calculator, looking at averages today, wheat went down below that $8 mark again for the average of $7.91. That's down 24 cents from yesterday. Corn at $5.84 for the average. That's up 4 cents from yesterday. $5.85 for the average of milo. That's down 2 pennies. And soybeans not quite at that $12 mark, sitting at $11.99. That's up 24 cents from yesterday.
Your local weather on KQAM, brought to you by Jewelry Savers. Conveniently located off K96 on Greenwich Road, the Kansas trusted jewelry source since 1971. Jewelry Savers.
Mostly sunny and still pleasant this afternoon. High temperatures approaching 70 degrees. Wind turning to the northeast 8 to 16, gusts to about 20 miles per hour. Overnight tonight, partly starry, lows drop to 38. For Saturday, more sunshine and temperatures coming down, a high near 56. With your forecast, I'm meteorologist Frank Waugh.
That's your latest Cake First Alert weather update on the Big Talker, KQAM.
At 4:06, it's currently 65 degrees.
Fighting for freedom every day.
They are absolutely desperate to pretend the last 4 years never happened and for them to go back to what they liked to do before, which is create these massive spending bills to pretend that it's really, really important to you when you only get about 5% of what's in the bill, and they can't do it because we're aware of it. We're paying attention to it, and they don't like that.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
I'm starting to notice a trend that's going on the micro level and on the macro level all over the country, and it's a pandemic that I think is worse than anything we've ever seen. And yes, that includes, by the way, the COVID-19 vaccine or the pandemic with COVID-19. There is a pandemic that is at the individual level that is being taught, that is being promoted, that is being advertised, that is being conditioned at the federal level, teaching you how to deal with things on a daily basis. Welcome into the show. We have a lot to get to today. Holy cow, happy Friday to you. We're going to keep it, no, not lighthearted. I was going to say we're going to keep it somewhat fun and lighthearted today, but we have a lot of serious things to talk about today, so I don't want to waste any time. Bottom of the hour, I am super excited about our guest coming up on the show today, as he is kind of a big deal. You heard of the name KASH Patel. He's an American attorney, also a former government official, as he served as the chief of staff to the acting United States Secretary of Defense under President Donald Trump. He's the former security advisor to the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. He's also led some of the investigation on the Russiagate scandal with Donald Trump and the Russians, so we'll talk with him coming up at the bottom of the hour. What is the latest on that investigation with the Russian dossier, and is Donald Trump really involved with this? We know it's not, but what's the latest there? So we'll talk with KASH Patel coming up in just a little bit here. I want to have a little bit of fun with this, but I want to tie it into something kind of serious that I think needs to be addressed. The Alec Baldwin situation. I know when people laugh at it, they just shake their heads. We played the little clip where he says that he didn't actually pull the trigger.
I think the big question, and the one you must have asked yourself 1,000 times, how could this have happened? You described it as a 1 in a trillion shot, and the gun was in your hand. How do you come to terms with that? It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never.
What did you think happened?
All right. We've played that clip. That played on 60 Minutes yesterday. Now, I did not watch the entire 60 Minutes. I tried to watch a lot of it today. It gave me like the first 15 minutes, but that was it. I couldn't find anything else. But I found it very interesting because while he tries to claim that he didn't pull the trigger, again, this is a silly argument here and a silly story. Do we want to focus a whole lot of attention on Alec Baldwin? No. He's an idiot. It's stupid. We don't need to pay much attention to it. But there's a deeper resonating thing here that goes into the entire Democrat Party, the entire progressive agenda that's bleeding into society every single day. And I think it's one of the most dangerous things that we need to be concerned about. And that is accepting personal responsibility at the individual level. Accepting personal responsibility. Now, I remember as a kid growing up that my parents always said, never lie, because if you lie, then it's going to be worse. If you make a mistake or if you do something wrong, own up to it. Now, I fought that as a kid, and of course, like every kid does, they try to test those boundaries, they try to make up the stories, and then you realize that making up a story is difficult because then you have to build onto the story when things don't start jiving. Oh, I wasn't at my friend's over here, I was studying homework. Oh, really? Then why were you over here at this time? Oh, well, and then you have to start making up the story to build upon the previous story that you made, and after a while, you come to a crossroads in your late teenage years. And I'd say that really because that's about the time where you're starting to become mature. You start being considered an adult. You have this crossroads
that you have to start making a really tough decision. And that's either you continue to get better at making those lies, in which case you usually become like a politician or an attorney. See what I did there? See, that's called a joke. Guess we could do the rim shot too. Or you start realizing, you know what, it's going to be a lot simpler, easier life for me if I just go down the road of just owning up to it. Yes, I messed up. I made a mistake. My bad. Let's continue on and grow from it, learn from it, and move on, and become a better person. You have that crossroad, and every kid goes through it. And as a parent, it's your responsibility to kind of catch them up on that and teach them that, hey, do you want your life to be really, really easy or really, really complicated? Because you can make it complicated, but you do it on yourself. But you can't play the victim. Again, that's another problem in society that's leading towards this issue. Or you could just say, you know what? I'm going to learn from this experience and become a better person at the end of the day. And I'll tell you right now, this is a vast generalization, but it really sums up the entire progressive, elitist, socialist agenda, is that they've chosen the very complicated path of life to never take responsibility for anything, to never learn their lesson, and to continuously repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again. I've told you the story of the little voice of reason jumping down and breaking her foot. And when we told her plenty of times not to jump off the stairs, guess what she did? She jumped off the stairs and she broke her foot. And my first response was, you won't do that again now, will ya? Because I'm not going to continuously try and coddle her when we've told her not to do the same thing over and over and over again. And she's learned. Now she doesn't jump from the stairs, does she? If a kid puts their hand on the stove, you don't do that. You don't do that. You take it off. You pull it away. And after a while, you're like, you know what? Burn yourself. See how well that works out for you. Now it's up to them and their mental capacity to decide whether they do it again or whether they learn from that. Hey, you know what? Oh, hot. Don't put hand on. It's a very easy thing. But I've realized that the way you live your life and political ideology are parallel to one another. The way you view the world around you politically is exactly the same on how you interpret the world around you based on your lifestyle and your upbringing and how you view the world just in your daily lifestyle and your daily living. For example, this Alec Baldwin situation, I watched a little bit of it. Now, they didn't obviously play the clip where he's like, no, I didn't shoot and pull the trigger. But while he's the one that's being investigated right now, which he says he's not, and it's a complete fabrication, it's a lie, while he says that he's not the one being investigated, he does an entire 60-minute interview talking about the movie industry and how he's gotten away from the movie industry and how he doesn't do many movies anymore and how this movie, Rust, was the one that was going to bring him back because he fell in love with acting all over again. While he's under investigation for shooting somebody, he's taken the approach of, I'm going to prepare my legal defense, saying that I didn't pull the trigger and that I, Alec Baldwin, am actually the victim.
Everybody there was having a positive experience. People who are watching the show, people who are back home, you have no idea how unique an environment a motion picture set is. It's kind of, there's an instant familiarity. The amount of care, these are people who are professionals who have really good jobs in a field they love. And I looked at all these people and I see how hard they work. They're so hardworking and they're so
very unique and original.
And you're around people and you're part of one of the great collaborative processes in the world, movie making. Everyone moving like a watch to get everything done. And when you kind of, I don't make that many movies anymore because movie making demanded that I travel and I didn't want to leave my family. All these movies I made, I stayed home. I didn't want to go. If I went away for a week. To leave my family for 4 weeks and go shoot this movie, that was a big deal.
All right. Again, Andy, what does this have to do with the current events and some of the big issues of the day? This has everything to do because this is the mindset. What the hell is he talking about? He's in a 60-minute interview about a shooting, and he's talking about the movie industry, how he's gotten away from it, how he doesn't love it anymore, how he fell in love with it again with shooting this thing, and how, you know, he doesn't like to be away from his family, how this entire sob story about how he's the victim because he didn't pull the trigger from a gun that was in his hands that went off that ended up shooting somebody, when he didn't notice any safety protocol issues that were happening, when he trusted the people that were there, and all this other garbage about how it's everybody else's fault except for his because he is the liberal progressive that can do no wrong because he would never point the gun at somebody and shoot them. Again, a stupid example of a stupid story from a stupid person that did a stupid thing and doesn't like to own up to it. You literally got caught with your hand in the cookie jar, and you're not owning up to it. And now everybody is shaking their heads and looking at you saying, wow, you're really going down this road. Wow, this is the stance that you're taking. This is the position that you have taken in this incident. I find it mind-boggling to be that delusional in society, to never own up to a single thing. And then I realized, and the light bulb went on today, that, wow, as we've talked about it on the show before, this is kind of a reinforcement of that idea that we've talked about in the past, that progressives overall never take responsibility for their actions. And this is going from all the way back with Barack Obama and prior to where they literally preach it on the podium from the federal level to the entire mass of people in the United States that you are a victim. Nothing you do in society can change the fact that you are a victim. Nothing that you do on your own can actually take you up to that next level to be successful in any way, shape, or form. You are that victim. The world is evil and against you, and that you need to play that victim because nothing that you do is wrong. I just got off the air with Armed American Radio, the great Mark Walters. I jumped in with him, and there's a wild shooting going on with a story that you wouldn't even believe that happened in Michigan with a kid that went in and shot up the school, and the parents are involved. The parents that completely ignored the signs left and right, again, completely ignoring the fact that their child had a mental illness that seemed, at least from what we know, very evident that they did nothing about, gave him a firearm, and then texted him and said, oh, don't do it because you'll regret it later. Knowing that something could have potentially happened here. Not taking any responsibility. And then when they get busted because he did the shooting, because he's a crazy wild sociopath in some way, shape, or form, the parents end up fleeing. This is happening all of that. We have a massive mental health issue in the nation that we're not wanting to address. And while the Republicans have been screaming for years about mental health issues on the gun front, the Democrats, what do they say? No, there's not a mental health issue. It's a gun problem. Take away the guns, we'll all be fine. You can't be able to kill that many people because there's nothing you can do about the mental health, when in fact they want, and I'm saying this very boldly, Democrat, progressive liberal socialists want mental health issues in society, because that way you cannot think for yourself. You cannot cognitively think about issues in a commonsensical, reasonable manner. You want divisiveness in the nation to be able to hate on each other based on a mental health problem. You want identity politics to ravage society so you can control the masses and watch the world burn. And I'm saying that very boldly. Progressives want this society. Barack Obama promoted it at the federal level by talking about how there's no mental health issue, but it's only about the guns. He wanted divisiveness based on identity politics. He wanted this type of scenario where you are a victim because of your race, because of your skin color, because of your religion, because of your gender, because of your sexual orientation. You're a victim. Don't listen to anybody that says that you can actually be successful on your own. Play the victim, because you are never wrong. We have helicopter parents right now, unfortunately, that try to create the bubble for their children and think that they can never do any wrong. When the parents used to get a phone call from the school and say, hey, your kid failed a test, it used to be, why the hell didn't you study for your test? Instead, now it's, why did you make my kid fail by not giving them the information or going more lenient on them because they needed special attention? It's a weird world. And this bleeds all the way up to the federal level with what we have going on right now at this minute. I don't mean to be the Debbie Downer on a Friday, but I'm telling you, the world's crazy right now, isn't it? We have a bigger picture right now of inflation. We have spending issues. We have supply chain issues. We have crazy stuff going on at the federal level. And what's been the response from the Democrats? Well, the supply chain issue's always been there, which is why we need to pass the infrastructure bill. Not our fault. Inflation's always going to be there because of COVID. Not our fault. We're just going to spend money to exacerbate the problem and then say it's not our fault because we just need to create more social programs. Pawning off the issues, completely ignoring their own responsibility in the issue. I mean, obviously you see a trend. Jimmy Carter did the same stuff Joe Biden's doing, and look at what inflation did then. No, it's not Jimmy Carter's fault. It was the economy's fault. Well, Ronald Reagan lowered inflation by the first term in office, by the first year in office. No, he didn't. Jimmy Carter did that. Never taking responsibility, passing off the blame, and then using it as an excuse to be able to gain their control for the issues that they started in the first place. It's a wild world, isn't it?
With Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time.
The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station.
We're here for you.
Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the voice of reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big to the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hoosier Media Network.
Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hoosier Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hoosier Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hoosier Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
I want to give you some examples of just how lack of responsible these individuals are at the federal level. While you hear the media, while you hear Joe Biden trying to praise the unemployment rate ticking down, as according to CNBC, the unemployment rate fell to 4.2%. That is a 0.4% decline month over month on the unemployment rate. That's good news, right? That's great. Everybody's praising it. The mainstream media's talking about it. You hear the news at the top and bottom of the hours on radio stations. You hear Joe Biden talking about, look at that, unemployment rate fell. Job growth was expected to be at 546,000 new jobs for the last month. Do you know how many they received? A grand total of 210,000. For
For those of you on the slower end of the spectrum, 210,000 is not quite 546,000 new jobs in the previous month. But instead of talking about how the jobs report came in well under expectations, like less than half of expectations, we have an unemployment rate that ticked down by 0.4%. All right, everybody's great. Now, again, these numbers just don't add up for anybody with a cognitive thinking brain that can actually understand these numbers in some way, shape, or form. We realize that, yeah, we gained a little bit of 210,000 jobs, but we should also be upset not only with the lack of job growth, but also with the dramatic fall in unemployment as well. But the fact that it ticked down by 0.4%, we praise it. Not taking responsibility, saying, wow, what's really going on and why aren't jobs actually coming back? Maybe it's because we have vaccine mandates we're trying to ram through the private sector and small business to tell people what they have to do for their own body. Maybe it's because we are not allowing the ships to actually port, to actually dock them and ship them. Maybe we started a wage war saying, hey, you deserve $18 an hour. And if you don't get that $18 an hour, don't show back up. We'll just continue to give you your social programs and your unemployment benefits. But hey, unemployment, that just means people stop signing up for unemployment. It doesn't mean that they're actually back in the workforce. You can't say that we're dramatically lowering unemployment while we're barely raising new jobs. The math doesn't add up. And they don't even want to talk about the people that have just given up. So what's going on? Again, the lack of responsibility here. They don't want to talk about the negative. They're going into a midterm election where they're dying. They're dying. They have no support. Joe Biden's numbers are down. I mean, he's sitting there hacking up a lung, trying to do a press conference, which is concerning because maybe he's got COVID. And when they mention it to him, no, I just got a cold for my grandkids. All right, that's cool, but anywhere else in the workplace, if you hear someone hacking up a lung at this time right now, any day, if you walk into a public store and you start coughing, see how well that works out for everybody around you. They start losing their minds. Whether you're wearing a mask or not, especially if you're not wearing a mask, because then you're just willingly trying to spread around viruses. You're trying to kill people. I mean, this is really what it's come to now is if you get a cold, if you get seasonal allergies in the spring or fall times with maybe hay fever or whatever else is out there, during the seasons, and you get a sneezing attack or you get a coughing attack because your allergies, you are now promoting people getting sick and people start losing their minds. There is one state trying to figure out, was it Oregon? I think it was Oregon. Oregon right now is actually trying to pass a mask mandate for the state indefinitely, meaning it's going to be there permanently because now there are some out there, oh yes, that want a mask mandate all the time because then you can stop flu season and you can stop the allergy season and you can stop the COVID season and you can just stop all. If you just wear masks all the time, then we'll never have to worry about illness again. That's why they tried to promote, well, it worked really great last year because we didn't have any cases of the flu. You guys did a great job of social distancing, not shaking hands, not giving hugs, not getting that human interaction, and wearing your mask. You did great. Did amazing. Didn't see a case of flu all year. Well, how come COVID cases were up? Well, because you guys were terrible at social distancing. You didn't wear your mask. You didn't social distance. You were hugging people. You didn't take our advice to stay away from each other and just isolate in your home. You guys were terrible, man. You can't have it both ways. Take the damn responsibility and realize that maybe your policies didn't work and you can try something different. Raising inflation, printing more money, you're super, super smart, stupid people of quantitative easing is not the way to go to try to save the economy. And obviously your wage war against the private sector on minimum wage issues and spending in the private sector isn't bringing back the jobs like you thought it was going to do. Shocker, right?
The voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the voice of reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
when reason meets radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today. All right, we got it out of the system. I'm feeling good. Feeling good. Let's get this party started. What do you say? Got to enjoy a little bit. It's got to take a breath. Got to relax. Got to have some fun. Welcome into the show. Radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. Watching or listening, we appreciate you. You can find our live stream all over social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch.tv. Also the Instagram, TikTok, and OurFreedomBook.com. And, of course, the website at HooserReason.com. If you are watching the video, you probably see we're connecting right now. We're working on the connection with KASH PATEL. Super excited to chat with him if we can get him on the line. We haven't done this in a while, but we're actually trying to live Skype feed with him for a video feed if you are watching. So that might give you a minute or two just to get on there. But as he's been part of the investigation with this whole Russian collusion with Trump and with the dossier and with all the stuff going on, we start to realize and understand, again, the Democrats, you want to talk about not taking responsibility. They don't take responsibility for anything, especially when it comes to something that they created as some type of scandal, because why the heck would we actually take responsibility for something that we created, trying to destroy somebody's administration for our own political game? Funny how that works, right? So we're trying to get KASH on the interview here momentarily. In the meantime, let's get into what's trending. What do you say?
What's trending today?
Real quickly, is kind of a headline. Not sure if you're aware of this or not, but as we go about this COVID-19 battle, are you aware that there is now becoming a federal vaccination database? Yeah, a federal vaccination database. Kind of interesting there. So I don't remember talking about this. I don't remember the news talking about this. Did the mainstream media mention any headlines? Not that I can remember. Now, I don't watch CNN. I don't watch MSNBC. I don't watch CBS. I don't watch ABC. I don't watch NBC. I don't watch any of these. I go to their websites once in a while to see what kind of news is actually there for that. So I've never heard of it. They never mentioned it, but apparently there were near 80 Republicans that even voted for it over the last few days what was it? Trying to find the number. It was the Immunization, Infrastructure, Modernization Act, allowing $400 million in taxpayer dollars to be funded for immunization system data, modernization, and expansion. In other words, if you haven't gotten the COVID-19 vaccine, they're going to know about it. They're going to know about it. Come on, man. All right, I think we got him. Let's see if we can, I think we got this connection here. It's been a while since we've done an actual Skype, so this is kind of exciting. But we do have him on the Skype, so let's transition this little screen over here. If you are watching the live video feed, which you can all over the social media, plus on the TV networks that we have as well. Super excited to have on the line with us here. He is the former National Security Advisor for the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, as we continue to learn more information about this whole Russian collusion that Donald Trump was involved with. Excited to have on the line here at KASH PATEL with this. KASH, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm excited to have you on here, and I appreciate the time very much. This is more stuff beginning to leak out, obviously kind of a day late and a dollar short before the election stuff, as we already kind of knew leading up to election time that this was a bogus claim, but this was kind of the mainstream talking point for years. But for those that haven't been paying attention to the latest news lately, talk about what's all unfolding here with all this with the dossier that's been released and what we're learning through this investigation.
Yeah, I appreciate you being on Skype, and hopefully you can hear me now. Look, there's a lot to go through, but I think the best way to talk about it is get all your audience to watch the movie, The President, which is available online. It's the #1 documentary. 5 years worth of investigation in 90 minutes. It tells you what we did, as I did when I ran the Russia gate for Devin Nunes. What's happening is what we knew would happen, because we talked about it 4 or 5 years ago. That Hillary campaign paid for this dossier, hired a foreign agent to put false information for the FBI. They took that information, the FBI know it was false, took it to a federal surveilled a presidential candidate. That's just the beginning of the failure in leadership of the FBI and DOJ, and it highlights the involvement of a political campaign to go after and use the law for politicians to corrupt.
Yeah.
That's a quick high-level summary. John Durham's on the move now. I report on the show KASH.
Yeah, you're kind of, Cash, you're kind of fading in and out there a little bit, just to give you a heads up. But it's fascinating now that we know this. This is confirmed. We're aware of this. The big question that's going to be as the investigation unfolds now is, will we see some repercussions? Will we see someone get arrested? And will we see some type of, I guess, some type of actual punishment happen? Or is it just going to kind of get swept under the rug after the investigation? We did our part, and then we just kind of move on about our day.
So I think what you're going to see is, and what you have seen, is the actions of John Durham, the special counsel. And I've talked about that extensively before. Look, I used to be a federal prosecutor. He is working on the largest fraud, the largest criminal conspiracy in U.S. political history. I worked on cases that took 2, 3, 4, 5 years to prosecute. So he's in year 2. He's issued 3 indictments already, and the indictments are very informative. He's already indicted the FBI's attorney who lied to the federal court to get a surveillance warrant. That individual is a convicted felon now.
Yeah.
So that is an indictment of the FBI's involvement in Russiagate. 2, he's indicted the DNC and Hillary Clinton campaign's main lawyer, Sussman. And in that indictment, he breaks out who's also involved in this criminal conspiracy enterprise, as I call it, like the Fusion GPSs of the world, the Mark Elias's of the world, his partner, Glenn Simpson, and so many others like Jake Sullivan, Fiona Hill, all these new characters. And lastly, he's indicted Andrew Danchenko is his last name. And why is this guy important for anyone who cares? He was Steele's main source in the dossier. Now he's been indicted for lying to the FBI. And what does it pertain to? The fact that he never provided Steele with any information for his dossier. So either Steele lied about it, Danchenko lied about it, or they all lied about it. And that's why I think it's a larger, grander conspiracy that John Durham's working on. But you can stay tuned and watch my show, Cash's Corner. I break it down every week over on Epoch Times.
Yeah, it's Cash's Corner. You can check that out. Kash Patel, he's the former National Security Advisor for the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Moving forward, as we realize kind of the, I guess, the holes, the Swiss cheese holes that are in the process here on how easy this was for them to do, starting with the Clinton campaign, the FBI that openly knew about it and took this, and the media running with it. Is there a way for us to kind of close these moving forward and realize, I mean, have we cleaned out the FBI? Have we found people that were corrupt and that were openly doing this for political gain in some way, shape, or form? And can we ensure that this is not going to happen again moving forward?
No, that's the main question. That's why we did the investigation under Devin Nunes, is to, 1, find the problem, and 2, seek a cure and a solution. And in the report, we put out a number of ways into which to prevent this to happening. But the main thing that the American people want right now is accountability, and that comes in the form of prosecutions by John Durham. Look, our investigation led to the firing or resignation of 17 Justice Department officials and the FBI. That's an incredibly high number for one congressional investigation, and shows the power of Congress when it's directed to appropriately use its authority to provide oversight to the American people, unlike what's going on now in the kangaroo show they have down the street there.
Yeah, there is that.
The other piece of accountability comes in the form of indictments, I was saying. That's what you're getting in John Durham. But you asked the key question, how can we prevent this going forward? How we prevent this going forward is you have leadership in place in the halls of Congress, the Senate, and ultimately the White House that align with our belief system, which is the political system exists for the American people. It doesn't exist for those Adam Schiffs of the world to service their own ego. We cannot politicize the national security apparatus. It hurts too many people. I learned that, and I protected against that when I was chief of staff at DOD. And one of the main missions we're fighting right now is the media, the bankrupt media, and that's what we're doing at fightwithcash.com.
I love it. I love it. Now, does this also bring up concerns about FISA warrants and how easy they are to actually be administered for a FISA warrant of this degree? And can we start closing that loophole up on that end as well?
Look, I agree with you. As a terrorism prosecutor who used the FISA process and found it invaluable, I'm the first guy to tell you we need it. I'm also the guy that tells you it's almost impossible to get one because of the work that has to go into it and the certifications you need. What happened in this case, in the Russiagate case, and what John Durham's looking at, is you had people in the FBI and DOJ lie to a federal court. You had a political opponent come in and buy dirty laundry that they knew was fake and submit it just to defeat a political opponent. That happens in third world republics, not the United States of America. Yeah. But unfortunately, the reality is it did happen here. And the way we prevent against that is, again, same thing. You have to install leadership at the Department of Justice and the FBI that is above this type of politicization of the defense apparatus and the national security apparatus. And you need a media who's willing to report properly. And I'd love for your audience to take a moment and check out fightwithkash.com with a K, because what we're doing is we're suing people across America, the fake news media, who've been defamed and deplatformed, and we're providing them legal representation, and we're providing them the means in which to hire lawyers on their own. We're cutting the checks, and fightwithkash.com has all my content, all my material. It's all free. I encourage you to do that, and we got great holiday merch that just went out there. And I encourage your viewers to check it out and help out the mission at fightwithkash.com.
Yeah, this is amazing. You're on the front line with this, and we appreciate it very much because this is huge. I mean, you already kind of hinted to this, but have we ever seen this level of corruption be exposed in any degree here in the U.S. before? I know we've had Watergate and other issues, but has anything been this bad before?
Look, in my opinion, I don't think Watergate was the worst. This makes Watergate look like a day at the circus. Yeah. I mean, this is the intentional abuse of not just the national security system, the law enforcement system, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the intelligence community. Failures across the board because some of the people in charge signed on, like the Andy McCabe's of the world, the Peter Strzok's of the world at the FBI, to politicize and take down an opponent that they didn't agree with. And that is the essence of what America was not created on. Yeah. It was created on this duly elected system we have in place, and what we had in a victim, Donald Trump, and we're just now getting to it.
Yeah, now getting to it. I tell you what, Cash, we got to take a hard break. Can you stick over one more segment with us?
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome, I love it. We got to take a hard break here. When we come back, it's Kash Patel, fightwithkash.com. Kash with a K. We'll continue this conversation when we come back. Stay here.
With Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hoosier Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode.
Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Oh, it goes by way too fast. Welcome into the program, radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, multiple radio stations, multiple TV stations, plus the live streaming podcast. Thanks for hanging out today. By the way, if you signed up, newsletter went out today, HooserReason.com, HOOSER Reason.com. That grows every month, and hopefully you enjoyed that one. The blog will be up there on the website as well, so you can read that even if you're not signed up. You can read that one, plus we got some other goodies on there as well. We got just a few minutes left here, wrapping up the show. We're talking with KASH PATEL. You can find him online, fightwithkash.com, as he is former National Security Advisor for the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence as the Russiagate investigation continues on. And KASH, I appreciate the time, my friend. This is interesting stuff. Let's go to the Trump side of this conversation. Obviously, they've had to deal with this their entire administration all the way from the beginning. Is there anything that Trump can benefit from outside of just clearing his name from all this, but outside, can they get anything out of this now that it's so late in the game?
I mean, obviously, election-wise, you can't go back in time and redo it. But what you can get is you can start restoring the faith in the tens of millions of people that put their faith in President Trump, and also more than that. I'm sure if you told millions of voters across America what actually happened during the Russiagate investigation, which we did, but the partisan media buried, but they can't bury the work of John Durham, I think the American public would have changed. Some of the American public would have changed their votes. And I think that the information from the Russiagate scandal needs to be made public across the board. You know, outfits like the New York Times and CNN and all these clowns that got Pulitzers for writing the false Russiagate narrative are now coming out and doing this Mickey Mouse apology tour while patting themselves on the back at the same time and excusing the conduct of the FBI, Christopher Steele, and the Hillary Clinton campaign. That's a total political apology. It's DC nonsense that the American public just can't stand. And I think the more information that comes out and the more we talk about it, the more Americans are going to feel that some of those in government did the job they signed up to, and hopefully it won't happen again by putting those people back in power.
Boy, wouldn't that really be nice? But as you mentioned, I mean, there's an entire system that needs changing, from the way that the FBI takes this, from actually the corrupt politicians wanting to do this for political gain, to the mainstream media that still doesn't even report this. I mean, this has been going on for a while now with the investigation, and the media doesn't even want to cover it. How many people do you think are waking up to this, and is this going to have an impact on the midterms next year, do you think?
Absolutely. And look, my Fight with KASH has now become a national tour. We go around the country and we talk to groups of individuals from Loudoun County, Virginia, out to the West Coast and Midwest. And what we hear constantly, and most recently, is that they are finally asking questions about Russiagate. They are watching the movie, The Plot Against the President, which is a must-see to educate yourself on what happened. And the third thing is they are waiting for accountability, and I keep telling them it's coming, because that's what highlights this scandal the most, is that the American government is able to hold culprits like Andy McCabe, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page accountable in federal court for violating their oaths of office, their service to the American public. And the more we talk about it, the better. And you can always find me talking about it. I'm happy to come talk about it. I was the lead Russiagate investigator. I'm the one who exposed the scandal with Devin Nunes. So I've been screaming about it for 5 years, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to come on your show and talk about it some more. But I encourage people to stay with it at fightwithkash.com and check out the movie The Plot Against the President. You guys are going to love it.
Yeah, I love it. We got about 30 seconds here, and again, I appreciate all the time. But real quickly, the Biden administration now, how much is Russia really still involved with things going on at this current time now that Trump's gone?
Look, Russia and China have been, we've said this since the beginning, our biggest threat, and they continue to be our biggest threat. And in a national security arena, you can't politicize that threat. You have to go at them as your number one targets. And the Biden administration is just not doing that. Their number one targets right now are climate change. Just look at what's going on when you make the border not a priority. Look at what's going on in our national security. Look what happened in Afghanistan. And when I was chief of staff at the Department of Defense, we made Russia, China, Afghanistan, Iraq our priorities, and this administration is not.
It's one step at a time. We continue the fight, and you're doing it right there on the front lines. My friend Kash Patel, former National Security Advisor for the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, leading this Russia investigation. Fightwithkash.com. That's Kash with a K. Fightwithkash.com. Kash, I appreciate the time very much, my friend. I'd love to get you back on the show again soon.
Happy to come back. Thanks for having me.
Hey, absolutely. Always a pleasure right there. That's great stuff. We'll continue to get some updates from him as we go along. That does it for us today. Goes by way too fast. I think we need 3 hours on this program. What do you think? When we come back tomorrow, no, it's the weekend. Never mind. When we come back on Monday, we got an entire laundry list full of great guests that we'll have on the program. Again, podcast up here in just a little bit as we try to expose a lot of this and keep up on what's going on with the latest current events. We'll have social credit score. Is it back? Yeah, I think it is. We had this Russiagate issue, the control from the government, and are we going to pay attention to it and try and clean up internally? It's a fight that we do every single day, but I'm optimistic. Why? Because I'm an eternal optimist. Podcast up in a little bit. Be your own voice of reason. It's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you on the radio on Monday. Everybody have a great weekend. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of the Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hoosier Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show,